Taylor Pendrith is in some pretty rare company. Players to win their tournament debut at the CJ Cup Byron Nelson. There you see Ernie Els in 1995, Jason Day in 2010, another major champion in Keegan Bradley in 2011. Then down the bottom, you see Taylor Pendrith in 2024. Very impressive indeed. And Tripp, I think it would be safe to say over the last at least 24 hours, call it 36 hours, when we've heard from Taylor, he has been so well poised. Seemingly, his emotions have been under such control. Now, he did admit to Amanda at the end that he was shaking, and you can understand that with excitement and with the adrenaline. But I wonder if you could tell us about the significance of his pathway to now being a winner on the PGA Tour.
Well, getting there a couple of times and failing, and you learn more from your failures than you do your success. There's no question about it. Michael Jordan talked about all the times that he lost, and that was one of the reasons why he was able to win. You learn from your failures, and I think Taylor has done that. It's not like he played poorly when he had chances to win before, but I think that he applied that today and said, what happened was getting ahead of yourself, not being in the present. And he really wanted to pull himself back to that we call it the precious present, because that when you're there, you're patient, you're calm, you're athletic, you let yourself perform in the way that great champions always seem to get themselves to. And I think that's one of the things that you've got to learn. It's not something that you just get right away. And even the greats in the game have to learn that skill. But once you do it, you're able to apply it again and again. But we go back to this, and we always talk about this. He hit the ball beautifully this week, and he started driving the ball well in Punta Cana a couple of weeks ago. And he drove the ball well there, had a nice finish, drove the ball well in New Orleans with his partner, Corey Connors. And then again this week. And that's really one of his weapons is the driver. But I tell you one other weapon that he had this week, and it was the key, was his short game. And it almost always is with these guys that go on to win tournaments. And it's not just getting up and down for pars. It's getting pitches like this for Eagle in the third round at the fifth hole. Of course, he made a 3 there. And then we go to 6, the one he could get it up around close to the green, this 40 yards away, and another pitch. And became the third player this year to go back-to-back Eagles. But again, it's the short game. Look, that ball went in with perfect speed. Had it not gone in, it would have been simply a tap-in. And then you go to the 8th hole yesterday. Here's another one that I'm talking about. And one of the things Scotty Scheffler does so well, and we don't focus on it enough, is after he chips, he has putts like that. His proximity to the hole when he's done, they're simply little tap-ins. And here he is at 3 in the final round. That ball kind of hanging up there, gave him a break. Again, a no-sweat par. He could go tap that in with the sand wedge. He didn't even need the putter. And then the 6th, where this was a tough up and down, and he could have made bogey, but then again, he nipped that just beautifully, and he turned a 5 into a 3. Those are the recipes. Those are the things that happen when you turn, possible disaster. And this, speaking of possible disaster, after a really good tee shot, spun back to here, that goes 6.5 feet away. He made a 6-footer at 16, made that 6.5-footer at 17, and you add all those things up over the course of the week, he wins by 1 shot. Had not one of those gone his way, he wouldn't be standing there holding the trophy. So it's always short game. It's always the ability to stay present and in the moment and learning that skill. And I think Taylor Pendrith has learned that skill. And I also think the fact that this goes a long, long way for another big event that's going to be in his home country in Canada coming up at the end of this season, and that's the President's Cup. I think Mike Weir's eyes are wide open right now because he would love to have a Canadian on that team on home soil.
I think he's going to have multiple Canadians on that team in home soil with the way things are shaking up so far. You have already touched on this, but he spoke specifically about par saves today, particularly coming down the stretch and how important they were. Could you talk to us about the fact that certainly in golf, and particularly in the wake of a win, we measure glory by birdies and eagles and these things that cause us to jump up out of our chairs. But the mundane, if you please, the critically important, if you will, comes down to those par saves, and they played that critically important role in this victory.
Well, they always do, Matt. I mean, and it's not ones you see necessarily on Saturday or Sunday. There's some that happen on Thursday, on Friday, that could have, changed things. He only won by one shot, and you go back through the course of the week. He was third in gaining strokes around the green this week. It's the boring stuff. But I can tell you this, and I tell this to everyone that I work with, is you've got to learn to get good with a short game. That's your defense. That's how everybody can play golf on offense. When everything's clicking, they're hitting the ball well. It's when those times when you misstep and the ability to save it and keep things together. That's always the key. And the greats have that day in and day out. And the guys that do it each week that win, they have it, it seems like, that week.
It's interesting, too, isn't it, Tripp, that it's the nuance of the weeks in which you play well or the week in which you break through and win. Sometimes you defy your own stats. You talked about this just yesterday because from 30 yards, he's 130th ranked on tour, and that's not what we saw this week. We saw that wedge, as you duly noted out, as being one of the most, if not the most dependable club he had in the bag.
Absolutely, but it was also the putter, the combination. But really, it was how close he was chipping the ball. Had those chips gone, another 3 or 4 or 5 feet by, he could have easily missed 1 or 2 of those putts, but he didn't. He had easy, no sweat chips after that. And those are the things that happen the week where it is yours. But we also saw a trend coming. And usually with players, you see them start to play well, and they're starting to get better and better at it. And then you do that with the fact that they've been there before a couple other times. When they get there, they finally get it done. And almost every player will tell you, you know what, the weeks I won, I didn't play like perfect golf. I didn't. I ended up playing really solid golf, but at times it was the short game that saved me. Almost everybody will tell you that has gone on to win tournaments.